It's hard enough just to come to school, but to come to school and be successful, to get that A is a great achievement.
Access, it's about achievement, and that's why you're here. And that's why we find you quite special, because you care, you care, you care, you care.
I have pretty good study habits, and I know what I'm doing. When I get into a class, I know what I'm doing. I know the process, but I still use the program. It's when I saw it, it just was a faster, more efficient way for me to get done with homework.
With the way things are changing in society, we need all the update technology to get what we need and to move to the places where people think that we're not going to. To everyone, if they say that you can't do something, prove them wrong. Because that's what I do on a daily basis.
When I just arrived to United States, I got a lot of problems to learn English. When I met Stacy and all the team, they told me, hey, you know what? I think that you should see this program because I think this program could help you a lot. So I said, all right, let's see.
I was on welfare. I had 5 children. I was in the middle of a divorce. And I got to college and they told me I had a learning disability. So I had a whole lot of things going on. I went on, I was a Senator of Humanities for 2 semesters, President of Student Government, President of the Region, President of Black Caucus. I got a transfer to the University of California, Berkeley.
We chose a class that had a very low success rate. And students just looked at the textbook basically and didn't read it. And, thought that they could survive on the lecture and on the teacher's notes that he gave them. But that was not so. They needed to read the textbook. And the readability of this textbook is very high. I worked with an individual faculty member, just one faculty member. And we were not able to get permission to digitize the textbook, but so we used only the first 2 chapters. And in the first 2 chapters, he went through the textbook, as Stacy has suggested, as if he were a student looking at that textbook for the very first time. He was actually able to be in that textbook with his students while they were reading.
Please remember, it is important to memorize the terms, as you will probably see them on your next test.
It takes faculty. Definitely need a faculty person involved to get this rolling.
I'm a sociology instructor who is incredibly low tech. I still like to lecture. I like to do the classroom discussions. I do very little online because a lot of my students don't have access, and it becomes a huge hurdle for them. And so when my dean asked me if I was interested in this program, at first I said, no way, I don't need one more thing on top of it. But what actually happened was, in meeting Stacy, what she was able to do is show me how easy it is. And for someone who's as low tech as I am, it's probably been about 15 years since I've really been involved in playing around with technology to really build up my skill base. I got to the point where I was able to train other faculty on our campus because I can go at it from a very practical perspective. And it becomes very simple in just basic ways in which we can use it with our students.
Since I teach mathematics, we mostly used it to embed strategies for problems. And so a student would go to a problem, click on a voice note, and they hear my voice saying, step 1.
Step 1, write the quadratic formula for yourself. So get out your notes if you don't have it memorized yet.
Renita came into our classroom with a video camera, and the students worked problems on video, with knowing that these videos would be put on YouTube. We've had video cameras for years, but just incorporating YouTube into it made it exciting for the students. And so just like keeping current with students and what's going on.
I digitized my entire textbook for one class and worked through the statewide project. And I really enjoyed working with the team, Rick, Stacy, Renita, and Rose Desmond. She helped me to digitize my textbook. And also, after that, I thought, hey, our library is currently at its last stage of being renovated, and we're expecting to move back to the library at the end of July. Here's an opportunity. I'm going to develop a virtual tour of the library using Kurzweil multimedia multisensory technology.
Good morning. Welcome to the circulation desk.
Hi, I'm here to get a book for my class of African American Studies.
I mean, your power as a student is really, really important here.
When I first started the class, all through my growing up, I got D's and F's in English. Once I started using the Kurzweil, the first test we took, I got maybe, I think, a 58 on the test. Since then, I've gotten 100 on every single test that I've taken in this class.
I'm 54 and returning to school with cobwebs in my brain, and I'm not retaining a lot of information. And then I started working with this program, and all of a sudden I realized that this could help not only myself, but a lot of other students out there that are struggling.
It helped me move up to the class I needed, you know, in order, for my major.
Hello, I'm the brother of, my name is Miguel. Sometimes we come out of high school, you just don't know what to do, you know. You just think in your mind, like, what I want to do. This is the reason why I'm a mentor, you know. I want to help students and improve their classes, get good grades, and move on to the next level.
It's good to see people that are taking advantage and progressing and overcoming their challenges. It's beyond this room. You haven't seen it, but it's coming. The future is greater than what you expect, so be prepared.
I've always liked sharing what I learned. One of the things I was taught in my family was that whatever you learn, make sure you share it. Otherwise, it's not going to serve your purpose. And I think that's one of the reasons that I keep coming back, is I really like sharing what I learned. And by doing so, I also learn a lot from my classmates and from the people that I work with.
All of these mentors, I can say this, that these people are leaders. It's and some of them, you know, they didn't really realize what was in them until they started applying. And similarly, you know, every single human being has something to give.
Yesterday I went in to talk to the professor and I said, I'm going to this conference about smart text and how are you feeling about it in your class? And he said, I've had incredible results. So in the fall, when we did the 3 test data, on test number 1 and 2, which we're using the smart text strategies, more students got A's. There were fewer unsuccessful students, and there was only 1 D and no F's. For the 3rd test, now this was the real deal breaker here, because the 3rd test we did not use the smart text strategies in. We were not able to digitize that chapter. And the instructor was almost giddy about how many A's there were. And he said, this is far different than in past history and shows that students are applying the skills they learned in chapters 1 and 2 to subsequent chapters. And so we saw that these results were maintained because they had learned how to read this textbook in chapters 1 and 2.
And so it's wonderful to have another resource to offer the students, and I think of it as just that. One more resource. Students do learn differently, and our goal is just to reach everybody and so use as many strategies as we have.
What really makes this program work is what happens supposed to happen at community college. It's supposed to be a second chance. So when they come into our program, I look at those students and I give them my undivided attention, and they know I care.
This is what it's about, is taking students, empowering everybody, and then helping them go out and help give back. It's like play it forward, and it's powerful. And if we can create more of this kind of energy, the Kurzweil is wonderful, but that's a tool. It's what's going on around us. It's all of you. It's all the teachers that are trying so hard. It's bringing the students in. It's working as a community. And that's what I'm finding to be just the most magical thing in all this.